Okay, today I will show you, I'm going to show you, I will be showing you, I will have shown you, I will have been showing you. Man, there are so many future tenses in English, right? I'm not surprised most of my students make mistakes with these, and I'm sure you make mistakes when you're talking about the future too, but it doesn't have to be so complicated. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use all the future tenses in English clearly and simply so you can speak naturally about your plans, make predictions, talk about formal arrangements, and many more things. And at the end, I've also got a bonus tense for you that most learners don't even know exists. You're gonna love it and you're going to wish you'd learned this years ago. Are you ready? When I was learning Spanish and French, I had to conjugate verbs like crazy to talk about the future. In English, it's so much easier. For example, with the verb go, you only need to know go, going, and gone. That's it. 3 things. The more interesting thing is to learn when to use each tense, okay, in which situations. And that's exactly what I'm going to explain in this video. If you're new here, I'm Greg from English with Greg, and on this channel I make advanced grammar simple and teach you British English pronunciation rules so you can speak English clearly and understand native speakers easily. And you can now download the new edition of my Quick Fix magazine. It's a future tenses special, and in this edition you can see these future tenses being used naturally in a story. You'll also learn top chunks about the future that you can use to speak more fluently, and you'll get a quiz, a writing challenge, and a lot of fun stuff. So download it up there, click the link in the description, or scan the QR code there. Once you do that, you will just enter your email address and I will send the PDF right to your inbox. Okay, let's have a look at the first future tense, which is the simplest of all, which is why we call it the future simple. To form this, we just use the word will and the base form of the verb. Will go, will play, will eat. Easy. And we use this for decisions that we make at the moment of speaking. For example, somebody asks you if you want to go to the cinema and you reply, yeah, I'll go. We also use it for promises. For example, yeah, I will pay you tomorrow. I will call you later. Okay, in these examples, I'm using the contraction I'll, because that's how we normally use this in spoken English. But I'll is just the shortened version of I will. So, decisions, promises. We also use it for offers. Don't worry, I'll help you. Okay, I'm offering to do something. So we use will. We also use will for predictions, like I think it will rain tomorrow. Okay, so that's a prediction about the future. We also use will for facts about the future. For example, the sun will rise at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so as you have seen, there are many different ways that we use the future simple. Here's a quick summary. We use them for decisions that you make when you're speaking, promises, offers, predictions, or facts about the future. Okay, the next really common future tense is going to. And we use going to plus the base verb, like I am going to eat, going to play, going to take. And we use this for plans made before the moment of speaking. For example, I'm going to start a new course next week. Okay? It's planned. It's in my diary. I've paid for the course and it's gonna happen. I'm going to start the course next week. Okay, so we use it for plans or for scheduled events. Okay, for example, we're going to visit my parents tomorrow. We're going to celebrate their wedding anniversary. Okay, so whether you think of it as a plan or a scheduled event, the way I like to think of it is if it's in your diary, or if it's on your Google Calendar, it's a plan for the future, so you use going to. Now there's one other way that we use going to, and this is evidence-based predictions. So not just what you think will happen, like I think Liverpool will win the league next year. No. Evidence-based predictions, like, whoa, look at those clouds. It's going to rain. Okay, you see the evidence and you make a prediction. And when you do that, use going to. Now, if you're preparing for B2, upper intermediate English, and you want to feel confident using all these most common tenses in English, then check out my brilliant B2 course. It covers every tense that you need to communicate with a strong level of English, with videos, examples, practice tests, everything explained in a very clear, simple, and step-by-step way. I'll leave a link in the description for you. Okay, the next tense that we use to talk about the future is the present continuous. Yeah, English is funny like that. So the present continuous is things like I am going, he is eating, we are playing. And we use the present continuous to talk about the future, to talk about fixed arrangements with a time. For example, I'm meeting Sarah at 6 o'clock. We also use it for agreed plans in the near future. Okay? Plans for the near future. Like we're having dinner with friends tonight. Okay? It's a plan. It's in the very near future. So we can use the present continuous. And we also use it when we're talking about arrangements or plans regarding travel. He's flying to Paris on Monday. He's coming back on Friday. He's visiting the Louvre Museum while he's there. Okay, so far so good. Now it gets a little bit more interesting. Number 4 is the future continuous. Here we have the structure will be plus the ing form of the verb. And it's the same for every person. I will be going, you will be taking, she will be eating, they will be driving. So forming this tense could not be easier. Well, maybe the future simple is easier, but it's still really, really easy. And we use this tense for an action in progress at a specific time in the future. For example, specific time in the future, 4 o'clock. Action in progress, I will be playing football. So, at 4 o'clock, I will be playing football. Or I will be playing football at 4 o'clock. We also use it to set the scene of a future event. When I say set the scene, I mean just explain what is happening. Okay, if we do this in the present, imagine in the morning, you open the curtains and you describe what is happening. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, the people are going to work. Well, do that in the future when something else happens. For example, they will be watching the match when we arrive. Or, using the example that I used with the present continuous, we could say, tomorrow morning, when I wake up, the sun will be shining, the birds will be singing, and the people will be going to work. Okay, and finally, we use this tense for polite or formal questions about plans. For example, will you be using the printer this afternoon? It's just a polite question about your plans for this afternoon and the printer. And this is why when you go to a hotel in an English-speaking country, they say, how many nights will you be staying? Because it's just a polite or formal question about your plans. How many nights you will be staying at the hotel. Okay, the next future tense is the future continuous, but instead of will be, like will be staying, with going to be, like going to be staying. Now this is really similar to the previous tense that we looked at, and we use this for planned actions that show intention, like what you intend to do. For example, tomorrow evening, I'm going to be playing online with friends. Okay, so I can't meet you because tomorrow evening I'm going to be playing friends. Okay, it's a planned action that shows intention. In other words, what I want to be happening. Okay, yeah, I know. It's really, really similar to at that time I will be playing online with my friends. The only difference is that when we use I will be playing, it's more definite, okay? I'm explaining exactly what definitely will be happening at that time if I say I will be playing with my friends. Whereas if I say I'm going to be playing with my friends, it really does express a bit more intention rather than an absolute definite plan. Okay, we also use it when we're just expressing a more relaxed and conversational tone. Like, he's going to be working from home tomorrow. It's more relaxed, it's more conversational, less formal, and it's a really common way of talking about the future. And we also use this tense with an ongoing planned activity. For example, they're going to be rehearsing or practicing all afternoon. It's a planned action, but it's an ongoing, a continuous action that will happen in a specific period of time. Okay, moving on to the slightly more advanced future tenses, we have the future perfect. This is, again, quite easy to form. We have will have, often pronounced will have, plus the past participle, like will have eaten, will have taken, will have gone. And we use this tense, listen carefully, for actions completed before a specific point in the future. Okay, for example, by next year, that's the specific point in the future, next year, I will have finished my degree. Okay, an action, finish my degree, an action that will have finished before that specific point in the future. Okay, we also use it when something is done or completed before another event. For example, she will have left by the time I arrive. By the time I arrive, that is the specific point in the future. Okay, and it's one action that happens in the future, but we're using the future perfect here to express that another action finishes before the second action happens. She will have left before I arrive, or by the time I arrive, or when I arrive. Right, and we also use this tense to show duration. For example, we'll have lived here for 10 years in June. Okay, again, I am specifying a point in the future, June, and I'm using this tense to express the duration of something, almost looking back into the past from the perspective of that point in the future, June. Okay, I look back and I say, oh, we have lived here for 10 years. Okay? That's what I will say in June, but if I'm saying that now, I say in June, we will have lived here for 10 years. Okay, and one more bonus example. You will have mastered all these tenses by next month if you subscribe. Okay, so we're looking at the future next month, and we're talking about a completed action that will happen before that specific moment in the future. You will have mastered all these tenses if you subscribe to this channel. Which reminds me, you know what to do. Okay, the last tense was the future perfect, like will have eaten, will have taken, will have been. This one is the future perfect continuous, which is will have been eating, will have been taking, will have been going. And we often pronounce it like will have been eating, will have been taking, will have been driving. And we use this tense for ongoing actions that continue up to a future point. For example, by the end of the day, that's the future point, I will have been working for 10 hours. Okay, so the continuous action that continues until, bam, that specific point in the future. By the end of the day, I will have been working, or I'll have been working for 10 hours. We also use it to emphasize the duration of that continuous action, like 10 hours in that example. Also, she'll have been studying all day when we arrive, and we're specifying the duration of the continuous action that happens until that specific point in the future. Okay, here's one more. They will have been traveling for 12 hours when they land. When they land. Bam, that's the moment in the future. Let's describe now the continuous action and the duration of that action that happens until that moment in the future. They will have been traveling for 12 hours when they land. Okay, so now let's have a look at the bonus tense that I talked about in the introduction of this video. And the bonus future tense is to be, to do. To be, to do. It sounds so crazy, sounds so wrong, but it's actually a really, really common tense to use. And we use this for formal or official arrangements. For example, he is to play in the semi-final next week. It's an official arrangement. We're talking about a professional tennis tournament, for example. And when we talk about things like this, normally in formal English, we use this structure. He is to play, blah, blah, blah. You will also see it in news headlines in the newspaper on your phone. For example, the Prime Minister is to visit Scotland next week. Okay, it's a planned event. It's a formal arrangement. He is to visit Scotland next week. And another really, really common situation where you will hear this tense is with instructions or rules. And this could be instructions to workers in an office or to children. So it doesn't really matter. There's no level of formality here. In an office, you could say, you are to report to the manager at 9 o'clock. Okay, is it similar to you must report to the manager at 9 o'clock? A bit, but if we say you must, that's an obligation. Okay, I'm expressing the fact that that's an obligation. If we use you are to report, this is what is expected of you because it's a rule. When we're talking to children, we could say you are to sit there and not talk until the end of the class. You are to sit there and stop annoying everybody. Okay, again, it's the rules that the teacher is imposing on the kid. Okay, in that situation, you might also hear the imperative, just sit there and be quiet. So it's definitely easy to avoid if you're speaking English, but you will definitely hear it and see it in more formal contexts. So don't be surprised. Yes, it's correct. And that is your bonus tense. So now you know how to express yourself when you're talking about the future. Now would be a fantastic time to learn about all 7 continuous tenses. And today's your lucky day. I've already done a video on that, so you can watch it by clicking there. And don't forget to download the latest edition of the Quick Fix magazine. It's really the best way to remember everything from this lesson. You're gonna love it. There it is. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.